everyone. Welcome to the 36th edition of Regal Live LinkedIn series. As you all know by now, this series, the aim of this is to help coaches become better and be the coach they want to be. And in this endeavor, we try to bring in topics and guests who can add a lot of value to budding coaches as well as those who are seasoned. So I have 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗀𝘀 with me today. Devi comes with close to 35 odd years of experience, much more than that, I guess, in large corporates in senior HR functions, and is currently the CEO of Potential Infinity and also a PCC, working towards this MCC. So a lot of experience here from Devi. Welcome, Devi.
Thank you. Thank you, Moni. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so Devi, interesting topic today, and good that you are there to talk about it because you bring in a perspective from the corporate side as well as now, working as a coach with the similar people whose role you played earlier. So we
Yeah,
are going to talk about why organizations should look at investing in building a coaching mindset.
that's correct.
So what are your initial thoughts on this?
Yeah, so the interesting discovery, Moni, was that after I went through my PCC journey and I left corporate and became an entrepreneur. And after I became an entrepreneur, I also thought, how do I develop? What's next I do for myself, right? I had done my ISB, I had done my INSEAD Advanced Management, I had done my pre-PhD work. So I was always wondering what are the next steps. So I realized that I want to do coaching, right? In a way, you add value to people's life. And when I went through the coaching process, saying that, okay, there are by default, because I'm a HR person and being a
Hmm.
CHRO, a lot of people come in to talk to me about career guidance and other things, right? A lot of senior
Yeah.
leaders, a lot of people who are career transitioning come to me. So I said, okay, maybe coaching will help, right? Give me a framework and things like that. So that's how I got into coaching.
Hmm.
Then after a while, I realized that actually it is making a extremely positive impact on me as a person. Okay. So the way I used to operate so it brings in a little bit of a little bit of you stop and listen, right? That's how
Yeah.
Terao,
Yeah.
what do you tell in Hindi, right? So you're a little more patient. You listen to people. You respect their perspective. You do things. So I realize that it's more than anybody else. I mean, whatever value I add to people, that's a different thing. But it adds a lot of this process adds a lot of value to me, and that is where this thought came in. And when I was working with corporates, my clients, I often came across that the more competitive is the working environment, the more toxicity is within that environment, right? People are just trying
Mhm.
to run, push for targets, pushing, setting targets, then celebrating their success in numbers, not
Yeah.
how they grew, how what they learned. They don't think about what's my next career and things like that. So over a period of time, I realized that it is actually impacting, creating a very different culture. I did for one of my large clients, I did a dipstick survey for them, right?
Hmm.
I went to different part of the organization and did focus group conversations. And then I could realize the toxicity, the fear, the anxiety, the burning, the burns that are people
Yeah. Yeah.
they are approaching, right? So then I realized that, look, I mean, there has to be something needs to be done. And when I look back, if I was the CHR of this organization, what is that I would have been doing, right? Then I realized that actually it's important to develop a coaching mindset with the leaders. Then that becomes very important. What happens is, look, I mean, coaching doesn't tell you to lower down your targets, huh? Coaching doesn't tell you that. In fact, coaching tell you how to hold your target. And in fact,
Hmm.
the way we coach it is actually to increase your target, right? How you can achieve astounding goals for yourself. So therefore I realized that I think this is very important, and that's how we created this leaders as coach, and then we started working on it. So that's my, oh, it's a long story. So okay, that's
So
that,
very
let me
very
stop.
interesting perspectives, Devi, and I liked your thought about coaching first being for the leader themselves, how it has created an impact for you and brought about the change, and that, slowing down and looking at yourself and seeing how you are growing, and not just about, the numbers and other stuff. And what kind of know, prompted me to think about this is that what does really mindset mean? When we think about it, we use this very loosely in the business parlance or in organizational perspective. Uh, but when we look at it deeply, I think it's more about attitudes, some beliefs, perceptions, right? Perspectives
Correct.
also, which basically guide a leader, and how it manifests as various kind of behaviors, how they approach their role, how they look at their responsibilities, decision making. So when we combine it with coaching mindset, how do you see organizations perceiving this word, coaching mindset? What comes up
Yeah,
when you talk to them?
yeah. That's a very good question, Mani. Actually, it is more complex, much more complex than it sounds. Okay, so
Yeah.
basically, organizations feel that. So you said that, okay, guys, you must need to think as a coach, and
Hmm.
then the guy goes in and sit down for a conversation. He thinks I'm a coach. I have the coaching mindset. It doesn't happen that way, right? The mindset is what you demonstrate, right? I mean, how you think, the pattern. But there are a lot of conditioning that we have gone through as human beings,
Hmm.
and we are talking about leaders. So leaders have gone through many layers and layers of conditioning, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
therefore, what happens is the moment you have to work on yourself. That's why I said, no, you don't think that today you just had a conversation with me and tomorrow morning you have a coaching mindset to do it. It doesn't happen that way. It needs a lot of practice. It needs
Hmm.
actually building awareness, right? I need to, as a person, I need to be aware about my conditioning,
Yeah.
and I need to be aware about how, because of those conditioning, I am behaving in the moment.
Hmm.
And the moment I have that awareness, what I have two options. One, I can stop and I can say, okay, I'll not let me not behave this way. Or I can at least be aware and go back and say, okay, what is that I can do to behave differently? Right?
Hmm.
So that's how we have to do. So it's a very deep work that needs to be done. So in a
Yeah.
way, the moment, so it took us some months and years, right, really to work on ourselves, right? So so the corporate, as they're looking at it, they're looking at, as you said, little loosely, but I think it's very important that they understand the importance of this word called mindset. They delayer that, as actions. Okay, so therefore
Hmm.
they would push people to go through certain interventions, and they encourage and allow those leaders to practice.
Yeah.
Problem
Yeah,
with
what I'm
corporate.
also getting from what you're saying is that, this is obviously it's about, you know bringing the focus onto yourself, because it's not a process of flipping a switch. You need to go
Right,
through that kind of
right.
conditioning and practice, but it's
Transformation.
also about facilitating in some way, right? It's not just
Correct,
about stepping from one
correct,
into the other.
correct.
Yeah.
So that's precisely. So the point is about, you just don't let your leader saying that, okay, now I told you how to, I mean, you need to develop a coaching mindset, so you go ahead and do it. It doesn't happen. Or you go ahead
Hmm.
and do a program and then come back. I have seen the problem is with senior leadership. So they preach and practice different things.
Hmm.
So the HR head or the CEO or the COO of the organization or the leadership has to be aware that, are we practicing what we are preaching? And what we preach, people just listen. What we practice is what people follow. So
Hmm.
the one way I would say that you need to develop empathy for your team, for your for people around you. You need to be listening empathetically, with
Yeah.
empathy. You need to ask the right questions. You need to facilitate their growth. All of that I'll say. And every day morning I will call you for a very strong review meeting, and I'll rebuke you for all your day's work that you have done. It doesn't
Yeah, no,
happen.
I can see the, disconnect happening there. So rather than facilitating, you are directing and managing. You're moving between those places. I don't know. Interestingly, Debbie, I'm reminded of this incident in this book by Peter Drucker, Effective Executive. Jim Collins writes the foreword for this edition, and he
Yeah,
talks about a lovely incident there where he met Peter Drucker, and when he was leaving, Drucker asked him this thing that you seem to be preoccupied about how to be successful. But that's not the right question to ask. The question to ask is how to be useful as a leader.
correct.
That's a
Wow,
brilliant statement, right?
brilliant,
Which kind of
brilliant.
sums up what it's about to be having that coaching mindset.
Correct. Absolutely. Coaching mindset is about, look, I mean, coaching mindset of a leader makes him a better leader. It doesn't make him a coach. Okay.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is, look, the apprehensions of saying that no, 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 let's not. While we are reviewing, let's not talk about empathy. Let's not talk about softness. Let's not. We are hard driven, data driven guys. A lot of
Yeah.
people have a sense of pride in doing this, and they think that there are two different worlds. The fact that just by listening and empowering that guy, you are actually enabling him to do things.
Hmm.
All the world outside is watching this World Cup of India, right? Now somebody asked, what is Rohit Sharma's leadership? Then
Hmm.
somebody asked, is the people said, so this TV guy was asking in the players. So most of them said Rohit is more than an elder brother. It's not a captain. It's more than an elder brother. And you listen to one of the clips of Simon Sinek. He says
Hmm.
when he talked to US Marine, they say it's my family. He's more than my brother. He's more than my sister. I would do anything and everything to see that he is successful. That's how the commitment comes. Now it's never
So
that they have removed their eye
yes.
out of the task. Yeah, but it's even the task. But how you enable people to achieve even higher than what you have set for themselves. Yeah,
Yeah, and so I was just wondering, Debbie, when you talked about this thing about some people are number driven and analytical, and they see that talking when you say that just listening enables you so much. So are we also saying here that coaching mindset can be developed by any kind of leadership style, right? That's what we are really trying to say. You don't
yeah,
need to really change the kind of leader you wish to be, but this can become an enabling layer on top of that particular leadership style which you show.
correct. And if you see this, I have seen a lot of this old style leadership. Let's look at our critical parenting, right? My father was there was very less discussion, conversation. He will only say, "Hey, you need to do this, right? This is your task," and that's it. And if father is sitting there, we will not go in front of him. We will go from somewhere else. Okay, there are a
Hmm.
lot of fear, a lot of respect, but we all know that he used to love me like anything, right? I mean, the love, the affection, it doesn't go. So even the strongest of leaders, a lot of time they have a lot of care. It just they don't demonstrate. So why don't we make our, rather than hiding our care and love for people, why don't we help people to grow through that?
Hmm.
Instead of hiding, if I open it up and if it is helping you, I better open it up and I help you to grow.
Yeah,
So a
in
lot
some
of
way being
time,
authentic, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
being authentic, being empathetic, just caring, just saying that okay, I am for you. That's it.
Hmm.
And that most of the leaders do. Even the hard knots also do believe in the same. Just that they hide it. As a critical parent, they just hide that part to them. My invitation to them is that look, the we are looking at our fundamental of leadership. Okay, is different. So allow your love to flow, allow your affection to flow, and from directiveness, you come to enablement, right? Or
Hmm.
empowering leadership,
That's
right?
that's a very powerful statement,
So
right?
just move from there
Yeah.
and allow those people the same vigor, the same love, the same compassion, the same target. Even you'll be able to achieve higher than this. So,
Yeah.
just for example, Mani, empathy is a word that has gone into the boardroom. So the
Hmm.
executive search firms, which has been now given mandate to look for CEOs, they have been asked to see that they must weigh the candidates on the competencies of empathetic listening and empathy.
That's a
Demonstrates.
significant change, right? The way we are looking at when you say that it's
That's
gone into boardroom and people are being
that's
told to look for that. So, what
that's
else do you see changing in the organizational landscape? Which kind of requires this coaching mindset to come in?
true. So, Mani, last few years you have seen the advent of IT sector, the cross-functional teams, the global teams, the
Hmm.
work from home and work from office combination. All of them have become managing teams extremely dynamic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have to be a good leader, the first thing, you are a good leader only when you manage your team well, right? So,
Hmm.
and then the environment, right? So
Right.
therefore managing team has become complex. So what has happened is now you need to be empowering as a leader, and a lot of knowledge workers have come in
Hmm.
now. It's not a command and control that are factory, right? You are the plant head, and there are workers. You will say you just need to do this work. You don't need to apply your mind. No, that's not true. The knowledge workers to be handled very differently. So you
Hmm.
have to adopt as a style of enablement or empowerment. Therefore, you see
Right.
today the work environment. There are a lot of conversation on how do we create a purposeful team, how do we empower our work environment, how do you ensure that we are energizing people, not just energy, but energizing
Hmm.
people. A lot of these things are coming up. So therefore, by through simple command and control, you will not be able to achieve this. So we
Yeah.
need to take a step back, look at how our leaders behaving as a group. That becomes very important. So what kind of a culture we are setting for the next generation, and then accordingly making sure that, see, look, you can afford to have a little low performer but a consensus leader, but you
Hmm.
can't afford to have a high performer who is just a bull in the china shop, who doesn't listen to anyone, who only believe in him and him and him. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
So you
so
you
that
talked
that's
about
the state
culture,
of it.
right? You touched upon that word when you were mentioning that, and I was wondering, how do you see in your experience and when you talk to leaders, how do they see coaching mindset impacting the culture as a whole?
Oh, absolutely. I think you can see it over a period of time. I can give examples also, of companies how they have successfully shifted to. I mean, when the knowledge working, let me go back to Infosys when we
Hmm.
were working, right? The way we used to then treat people, right? So in Infosys, when I was in a manufacturing setup, I was addressed by my last name, no, Mr. Das. And in Infosys, it was first name. Anybody can
Hmm.
come and challenge me. Anybody can come and talk to me. Anybody can come and give that idea. He thinks this is what
Right.
is right. So right from there, and that is how the culture is thinking. So collectively, when you empower people to come and question you, when people
Hmm.
stood up in open house and questioned Mr. Naramurthy, that is empowering people.
So you're
That's how.
also creating that culture where people speak up, right? It's not
Yeah.
that it's a one-way street, but you're allowing exchange of
Pick
ideas.
up, contribute,
Yeah.
talk, new ideas, new horizon. You
And
not just
especially when we
allow
are
them to
when we are
speak up.
looking at this generation where access to information, data, and opportunities is like very
Yeah,
easy. You can
very
access it.
easy.
So I think
Very easy.
it makes sense when you say people are able to express. And one of the surveys which I saw, a lot of people leave because they don't see any career path or clarity as to how they are going to grow.
And also
In
sense of purpose. They don't see a
yeah,
sense of
sense of
purpose.
purpose.
Why
Yeah,
am I here?
right.
Good.
Absolutely. I think so. While as you said, that it sounds simple, but the impact seems to be huge in terms of building and developing coaching mindset. And I think one more shift, which I don't know, Devi, if you're seeing, looking at this as an investment, because that's the headline of our topic, why
Right.
organizations should invest,
Should
in
invest.
coaching mindset, not looking at it as an expense or a cost, but as an investment.
If I was the sales share of money, I would definitely invest on this because I have gone through it. So I realized that rather than doing any program which is just outside, sending them to big schools and things like that, I would rather invest in people and building this culture. So the leaders as coach program, the coaching SSC program, I think goes a long way in doing. creating right level of
Yeah,
leadership,
absolutely.
creating
Yeah,
coaching mindset.
really. And we are almost at the end of the time, so I'll just take this opportunity to continue what you were saying in terms of the ACC program. So we're starting a new ACC Level 1 ICF coach training program in Mumbai, which is an in-person
Mm.
program starting July 19th, 3 days residential. So anyone looking at being a coach or anyone who has someone in circle who can benefit by being a coach, please do refer. Thank you so much, Devi. It was wonderful
Invite you.
talking to
Thank
you,
you.
but I think we should continue this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.